Shalom. I am Rabbi Nathan Davidovich, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel, on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. Today I'm going to talk about two things in the short Torah portion. The weekly Parsha in Israel, which I know differs from the one outside of Israel, is Bechukosi. It's the last Parsha in the book of Numbers, the book of במדבר. Today is also a very special day. Today is Omer, the 33rd day of the Omer, the 33rd day of counting the Sphira. I'm going to talk about the connection between the Parsha and between Omer, and how we can use this connection to improve ourselves and improve our relations with our fellow Jews. First of all, what's Omer about? Omer, 33rd day of the Sphira, commemorates two different events. One is that the students of Rabbi Akiva stopped dying on this day. During the period from Pesach to now, 33 days, 12,000 pairs of students of Rabbi Akiva died. 24,000 people. They stopped dying today. Now, there are a number of reasons as to that the rabbinic sources give as to why all these students who were steeped in Torah were dying. The most accepted reason, although there are others, say it's because they didn't give proper respect to one another. And the fact that the Talmud refers to the pairs of the students refers to the general way in which Torah is learned in a yeshiva. You have a study partner, and you discuss a matter, and one party will give his opinion, the other party will give the other opinion, and the opinion that holds that this was the cause of their death was lack of respect is that they weren't listening, they weren't treating their partner with respect. Very, very important, the concept of how we look at another person, how we treat another person. There's other opinions that say, no, this happened because of it was part of an insurrection, the Bar Kokhba revolt, and they died in that way. We're going to go with the first one that I mentioned. The second thing is today is the Yahrzeit, the anniversary of the date of death of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Now, what happened with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was the student of Rabbi Akiva. And after all of Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 students died, there were only a handful of people who went into hiding. One of them was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and Rabbi Akiva taught him Torah. For a number of years, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his son would hide out and study Torah. The Romans made a decree that anybody caught studying Torah or teaching Torah will be put to death. So finally, the heat became so intense that they decided to go and hide, not even telling his wife. He and his son, Rabbi Elazar, decided to go to a cave and hide in a cave. They went to this cave. A carob tree grew up in this cave to feed them, and they would bury themselves in the sand all day long, studying Torah. Every moment, every waking moment, studying Torah, coming out of the sand only to say the Shema, to daven. They were in this cave for 12 years. At the end of the 12 years, they came out of the cave, and they had reached a tremendous level of holiness. As you can imagine, communing with God for 12 years straight, talking Torah, nothing but Torah, going all the ramifications of Torah. In fact, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is said to have given the Jewish people the oral Torah, The written Torah was given by Moses on Sinai, but the oral Torah is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So there's tremendously high level of holiness. So they got out of the cave and they walked into civilization, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai saw people who were doing ordinary work. He saw somebody farming his land, doing other things. And he said, how can you give up the promise of eternal life that you get through the study of Torah by doing worldly things? And he, again, different opinions. One opinion says he would look at these people and his stare would burn them up. The other opinion says he would just convince them to give up their worldly work and only study Torah, do nothing else, don't have a livelihood. And then God said, you can't do this. You're destroying my world. So he says, you have to go back into the cave. So they went back into the cave for another 12 months. And then another 12 months, they were able to come out. And they said, now we understand what it means that the wicked people are destined to be in Gehenna for 12 months. And the question is raised by the Davidovich Sholem, why are they referring to themselves as wicked people? Because they realized that God has created a world where people have to live in this world. And the holiness of a Jew does not depend on whether or not he's studying Torah every day. The holiness depends on whether he's a Jew. And the message that they finally had to learn the hard way is that every Jew is holy. So he brought about a level of love between all of Israel, between one Jew and another. Recognize that doing your worldly work is equally important as long as you do it in the spirit of Torah. The Rashi on the first sentence of this Parsha, Bechukosi, says, if you walk in my ways, meaning to study the Torah. But there are two ways of walking in the way of the Torah. One is walking in the way of the Torah by studying Torah day and night. The other is by walking in the spirit of the Torah, by doing what the Torah commands you. And this incident, this whole thing with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, shows the importance of recognizing the holiness of every single Jew. That the Davidovich Sholem points out, he says, because of this reason, that they brought every Jew to a level of being holy. Every Jew now at this day of Lag Bomer is enlightened by the spirit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. In fact, last night here in Israel, lots of people went to his gravesite in Meron. Big bonfires there. And people were realizing, people were loving one another, people of all walks of life, all Jews, all walks of life, recognizing that the importance of being a Jew is to recognize the holiness of every single person. And this is the message that we get from Bechukosi, that you can walk in Bechukosi Telechu, if you walk in my commandments, meaning if you follow the Torah, either study the Torah or you walk in the spirit of the Torah. The spirit of the Torah means following the Torah no matter what you're doing. Not everybody is destined to be a Torah scholar. Not everybody can sit in yeshiva and study and gain the knowledge that is necessary. The fact of studying itself is a great merit, because you don't have to really accomplish anything except study, but there are others who are not fit for that. And the world has to go on. God didn't want us to abandon the world to only study Torah. He wanted us to be a part of this world. So that's the second part. So if every one of us, no matter what we're doing, recognizes that we're doing it with the Spirit of God, with the spirit of holiness, with the spirit of serving Torah, of fulfilling the Torah. And if we think about the spirit of Rashbi, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and how he recognized the importance of love for every single Jew, we'll be there. I give everybody a bracha to be able to love one another. I wish everybody a wonderful Shabbat. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org, and we'll talk to you, God willing, next week. Shabbat Shalom.